In the previous video, we asked artificial intelligence which were the 10 best Power Rangers, and we asked it to give us a brief reason to have these Rangers in that list. Today, I asked artificial intelligence again about Power Rangers, but this time I asked it to make a list of the 10 best villains. I'm not sure if he made it from the best to the worst, or if he just gave me the top 10 and that's it. Let's see what villains artificial intelligence mentions, and let's discuss if these villains can really be part of the best of the franchise. Remember that each person has different preferences, and this list is only information obtained by an artificial intelligence based on many opinions and data on the internet. The first villain on the list is Lord Zed, and as I told you in the previous video, it is very possible that this artificial intelligence is carried away by the fame of the character because it will be able to find more information about him. In this case, artificial intelligence told us that it put Lord Zed on this list because he was the first villain to be truly terrifying and threatening to the Power Rangers. Let's remember that Lord Zed is a Power Rangers exclusive villain, and they could have created him in a more terrifying way, but many parents started to complain because he was too scary for their children and they had to soften the character. The number 2 villain is Astronema from In Space, and the reason artificial intelligence gave me is that she is considered one of the most interesting villains due to her history, since she discovered that she was Andra's sister, so she had a fight between good and evil. In the end, we all know that this villain managed to become a Power Ranger, and this is a great evolution of the character. In addition to this, we know that this villain is one of the most powerful in the history of the franchise. In the third position we have Mesogog from Dino Thunder, which is a mad scientist who wants to revive dinosaurs. The reason given to me by artificial intelligence didn't convince me much, as he simply gave me a description of the character. He told me that this villain was a scientist who transformed into a mutant reptilian and wanted to return the Earth to its original state before humans appeared. Basically, artificial intelligence also chose him because his story is interesting. Villain number 4 is Venjix from RPM, and I believe that artificial intelligence chose him because maybe someday he can be similar to Venjix. Seriously speaking, the reason he gave me is that this villain is one of the most powerful villains in all of history, with a complex and dangerous mind that fights for world domination. If we have learned something for many years with all the movies, it is that robots can be incredible villains because they are machines that will never get tired and learn more and more every day to defeat humans. In the number 5 position we have the villain Daisher from Jungle Fury, and artificial intelligence told me why he placed this villain in this list is that he is a cunning and dangerous villain who uses martial arts to fight the Power Rangers. He also gave a brief description of this character, saying that he is a villain who fights for the control of animals and nature and wants to destroy humans for damaging the environment. We all know that Daisher is one of the most famous and most beloved villains in the entire franchise, so it's no wonder he appears on this list. Number 6 on this list, according to artificial intelligence, is Optimus, the master who appeared in Mystic Force. The reason given by artificial intelligence pleased me a lot for this character, as he told me that this villain possesses a great deal of magical power and is one of the most acclaimed villains because of his complexity and motivation. I have always thought that any enemy that has magical powers is always going to be very difficult to defeat, and I think this villain can be on any list among the best. In the number 7 position we have Lothor from Ninja Storm, and the reasons artificial intelligence gave me is that he is considered one of the funniest villains in Power Rangers due to his quirky personality and sense of humor. He also told me that this villain seeks to take over the world using magic and martial arts. I think this villain is much more than that. To me, he is one of the craziest villains in the franchise and one of the hardest to understand. I think the only thing I can criticize about this villain is his physical form, as he looks like a wrestler. Villain number 8 is Rancic from Time Force, and because this villain is so low on this list, it makes me think that these villains are not in order from the best to the worst, since we all know that Rancic is still one of the most beloved villains in the history of Power Rangers. The reasons that artificial intelligence gave me about this villain is that due to his tragic history of being a mutant despised by humans, he seeks revenge and conquers the world. In position number 9 we have Divatox from Turbo, and the reasons he gave me is that she is a very dangerous villain who managed to do a lot of damage to the Power Rangers. He also gave me a brief description saying that she is a galactic pirate who seeks wealth and power. We all know that this villain is one of the most famous villains, and I think she could have been a better character if it wasn't because of how terrible that season was. If this villain had been in a better season, I think we could have seen one of the best characters in history. In the last position we have Rita, the main villain of the first season of Power Rangers. I think this was to be expected since Rita is still one of the most recognized villains worldwide. Whenever you talk about Power Rangers, Rita should always be mentioned, and I think she was a great villain to start this whole fantasy universe. The reasons artificial intelligence gave me for having this villain on this list are basically the same as what we know about Rita. She told me that she is an iconic villain and an evil witch who seeks to conquer the universe using magic and monsters. He also told me that she is considered one of the best villains because of her personality and her historical role in the franchise. All these villains are excellent, and I think most of them deserve to be in any list among the best, but as we all know, this is all based on personal tastes of each fan. So write in the comments what would be your top 10 villains in history. If you like these villains, like this video and subscribe for more Power Rangers villains.